denkt man zurück an diese Entscheidungen, an diese großen.
We are making every effort to bring this terrible war to an end. But all our efforts in recent weeks have been met with an even more aggressive approach by the Moscow regime against the people of Ukraine. And this will not stop until we have worked together to ensure that Russia can no longer continue this war, at least for economic reasons, perhaps also for military reasons, but in any case for economic reasons.
Zumindest aus wirtschaftlichen Gründen, vielleicht auch aus militärischen Gründen, jedenfalls aus wirtschaftlichen Gründen, nicht länger führen können. Der CDU Nordrhein-Westfalen. Wir sind vollkommen geschlossen dort in diesem.
We went into this conversation completely united. We prepared intensively for it. At no point was there any deviation from our common view on how to deal with the war in Ukraine, for example, or how to deal with Russia, on what we now have to do together. And I confidently claim for myself that if the German Chancellor does not do this work of keeping Europeans together and ensuring unity at the European level, especially on such a question of war and peace, then no one else in Europe will do it, dear friends. And that is why I feel that this is my mission. If Germany is prepared to take on a leadership role in Europe again, if Europe stands together, then we have a chance of being heard. Then we can assert our interests. We can defend our freedom and our security together. It will be a long time before we can do this on our own, perhaps one day. But we decided at the NATO summit in The Hague in June that we would work towards strengthening the European part of NATO, that we would try to keep the Americans in Europe, but also that we would say, yes, we are prepared to make a major contribution ourselves to our defense, our security, and our freedom.
Das haben wir im Juni auf dem NATO-Gipfel in Den Haag beschlossen. Jetzt leben wir in einer Zeit tiefster Ungewissheit.
And this NATO summit, dear friends, would have turned out differently if there had not been a change to the German constitution beforehand. If I had not been able to say that we would now be contributing 3.5% to our defense and another 1.5% to defense-related infrastructure, and if others had not done the same as us, then this NATO summit in The Hague would probably have been the last NATO summit of the old NATO. Now we have a new NATO. Now we are embarking on a new path of defense policy, the defense of our security, the defense of our freedom.
Mein Engagement für Europa.
My commitment to Europe, my commitment to foreign policy is not an escape into foreign policy or European policy. Foreign policy is security policy and peace and freedom policy for Germany. European policy in Brussels and Strasbourg is domestic policy and economic policy for Germany. If we do not do this, we can forget all our efforts in domestic policy in our country, dear friends.
Vergessen, liebe Freundinnen und Freunde.